Hello, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for tuning in for my up close and personal segment where I feature a special guest. And today, our keynote speaker is Miss Carolyn Kelly. And she and I have been working together privately since June, so about 2.5 months. And I am super excited to have Miss Kelly join me today. You all are in for a treat. And so, thank you, Ms. Kelly, for taking time out of your schedule to share your personal journey and your testimony with everybody today. And I had her title is very powerful. So, her topic is how Carolyn eliminated 5 medications, COP episodes, so COPD episodes, oxygen machine, how she lowered her blood pressure and fasting sugar levels to optimal levels. And to date, she has lost 24 pounds in like these 2.5 months, despite yo yo dieting and battling multiple health conditions for number of years. Okay, number of years. So, and I am really, really excited. She is a living witness of being a miracle. And I have no doubt that you all tuning in will see a part of yourself in her story and parts of her story that she will share with us. And so throughout this segment, feel free to post comments, post questions, and then and I will respond to them. So definitely chime in if you relate to anything. If you just want to co-sign, then go ahead and please chime in throughout this talk. And so I want to just go ahead and jump right on in. We have a lot to discuss, and we are going to hear from Miss Kelly herself. And first, I wanted to begin with if you would share with your viewers just a little bit of what line of work have you retired from, and what did you do for a living?
Okay, hello everyone. I worked with the Department of Highway Safety for 35 years doing different positions. And my last position was working in employee relations. And that entailed really, how would you say it, writing up bad people and getting them back on track.
Okay, awesome. 35 years, and now she's living her life, enjoying her life.
Amen.
And so I wanted to do a backstory with Miss Kelly, and so you can really share her journey. And it's a true testament that it is just never too late to make changes and to turn things around. It's never too late. And so her ultimate goal weight is around 150 pounds, and she was at this weight about around 1980. She was at this weight. So share with us some of the events over the years that you feel maybe has led to the weight gain over the years and you reaching your highest weight.
Okay, to give you a little background about myself, I was always active, outdoors type, played many sports, basketball, softball, ever since I was in the 6th grade. And during that time, I enjoyed, doing everything outside, from planting flowers to even mowing grass just to get exercise. I rode my bicycle every day. My sister and I did that for an hour every day. So I was in very good shape. And then I had to end up having 2 total knee replacements. So that went well. But then about 7 years ago, I fainted in my bedroom and was taken to the emergency room. And I was diagnosed with asthma, COPD, and congested heart failure. And shortly after that, I was diagnosed with a lung disease called tracheomalacia, which there is no medication to help in those symptoms. So that left me very immobile. My breathing went from like 100% to 30%. I had to end up being on oxygen 24 hours a day. So all I did was just snack, eat all day long because I was bored. I was depressed because I wasn't able to live the lifestyle that I was accustomed to. So the weight started and I couldn't do nothing about it. I tried all kind of diets. It never worked. I would lose about 5 pounds and then I would quit and I go back to my binge eating and everything. And so then that led me to have to be on so many different other medications. I was on 3 blood pressure medications. I developed high cholesterol, um, type 2 type 2 diabetes got worse. And so my blood sugar level was almost up to 7%. Yet and still, I know that I needed to do something about it, but I just wasn't motivated to do anything about it because I was feeling sorry for myself. I was saying, why me, why me? And the weight steadily came on, and I got up to almost 263 pounds at one time. Mm-hmm. So it's been a struggle, but it's much better now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And just to give a little perspective, she's 5'2". So 5'4", 5'4",
mm-hmm.
right? And so that's a lot of weight to carry, and it will affect your joints. It will affect your breathing. It will affect your sleeping, and so that was a lot that she was, kind of taking on at that time. Now, you mentioned having the double knee replacement. So was this something that happened younger, like when you were in your teens or 20s, or when did that take place?
Well, when I was 21, I first had I tore the cartilage loose in my knee playing basketball in a tournament.
Okay.
And it went from there. So it just like my knees really gave out because, like I said, I was always playing sports, always doing vigorous things on my legs and knees, and they really literally just gave out. Okay. It wasn't really, yeah. And then the weight, because I didn't have the weight during that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And share with us about the type 2 diabetes. So it's at 16. So usually that's adult onset for type 2. And so usually we'll see more type 1 when we're in those juvenile years. So share with us that what led to the diagnosis of the diabetes at 16.
Well, my mom took me to the doctor because I was always thirsty, and I just could never get enough to drink. And type diabetes ran in on my father's side. Everybody on my father's side had diabetes, regular diabetes, and I guess it just passed down to me. Not sure.
Okay. And you've been able to manage it over the years? I know you had mentioned your A1Cs was like I think you said 7 or 8. Is that what you said was at the highest levels for your A1C?
Almost 7%, yes.
Okay. So and it sounds, and how have you been managing the diabetes as far as your levels and the fasting levels in the morning?
My fasting levels has tremendously gone down because it was usually 103, 104, something like that. So now they like into 94s, 93s. So I think it's doing very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And this is she's on one medication for the diabetes, and so the levels have been going down since changing her eating. She's lost weight, and so she's lost 24 pounds in like 2.5 months, which is great. And so we are looking forward to when she goes to her doctor, the next doctor visit. What are they going to say as far as her medications, and will they need adjusting? And so we're really, really looking forward to that. And so share with us about the asthma and the COPD. So this is one of your more recent diagnoses. In the episodes, sometimes you've had a few scares going to the ER. You currently on a CPAP. So let's kind of talk about that backstory with that diagnosis and the struggle you've had with that over the past 7 years.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle for me because getting used to sleeping in a CPAP bypass machine is very gruesome because during the night, it makes your mouth so dry, and then for me, it seems like it puts a lot of air into me because every morning when I wake up, my stomach is really bloated, and as I walk around, start doing things, then the bloatedness will leave me. But it's very difficult to sleep in because I have a full face mask, and it's not only difficult to sleep in, it has made circles under my eyes because the mask fits directly under my eyes, and it's very difficult to sleep in. So I'm hoping by the grace of God, that I can get rid of this CPAP machine because it's really bad for me.
Right. And in the beginning, is it something that you have to wear all night?
Oh, I have to wear it all night.
Okay.
Yes, every night I have to wear it.
Okay. And how and recently, how often are you still wearing it every night just until you go to the doctor and get reevaluated?
Yes, I have to get reevaluated next month, and so my lung specialist has told me that I still need to keep it on until I get the diagnosis back from my sleep study.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that is some more exciting news that we are waiting on. And so let's talk about the medications. How many medications were you on back in June, would you say?
About 16 different pills per day,
Yes,
including vitamins. That's including vitamins and everything.
mm-hmm. And how many are you taking now?
Well, I'm taking 7 pills now.
Right. And that's including your vitamins, right? Because I know we've been able to cut down some of your vitamins as well and kind of
I'm
combine
just
them
on
into
one
one.
vitamin.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was taking 3 different vitamins a day. Now I'm just taking the one multivitamin.
Good,
Yes.
good, good. And just as a testimony, she's actually down. We know she's down 5 medications as far as for a medical condition because she was on 3 meds for blood pressure, and now that's down to one. And we're off of the diuretics, which is the pill that was helping to control the congestive heart failure. And the other one was also for blood pressure too, right? It was a
Yes.
diuretic for the blood. So those are off, which is I know that. What was that experience taking diuretics? I know some people
Oh
have,
my God.
yeah, most
I
people
will
don't
have
have.
to lace it. I would take about 6:30 in the morning,
Hmm.
and I will have to urinate at least every 20 minutes until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, yeah, it's not a pleasant experience at all being on a diuretic. And what that does is it helps to release the water retention that's in your body. Because when you have congestive heart failure, the fluid builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and it makes it difficult to breathe. And it's a dangerous situation. So that's why you have to take the diuretics to kind of help your body to release all of that fluid that it is not able to release on its own. And let's talk about the blood pressure history because you started with one pill, and this was about let's see here, about 10 years ago. You started with one pill,
Mhm.
and then it ended up becoming three. So kind of share that journey.
Okay, it started with Losartan, and that wasn't controlling my blood pressure. So then they added in spironolactone, and of course, I had a diuretic in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then they added in the third pill, and it had a diuretic in it, which is nifedipine.
Mm-hmm.
It had a diuretic in it, so I was taking Lasix and the 2 blood pressure pills that had diuretic, and the other blood pressure pill. And so I needed those 3 blood pressure pills to control, but really that wasn't controlling my blood pressure either because it was still in the 150s and the 140s, even taking those 3 pills. And so now I'm at the point where I'm only taking Losartan, and it's a very low dose
Yes.
instead of taking the other 2 pills. So therefore, I don't need them anymore, and that has been really great for me.
Yes, yes. So no more diuretics. So that is awesome.
Yes,
So and that shows in your case, which is most for you, is the weight was directly impacting the blood pressure.
correct.
And that's just with 24 pounds. So just so that is what the blessing is it you don't have to lose 100 pounds to get it to get the blood pressure under control. So that is great. And share how your breathing has improved? Well, I guess we can talk about before. What were some of the struggles you had during the day in your day-to-day life with the breathing?
Well, I was taking a breathing treatment. I had to give myself a breathing treatment every 4 hours just to have a little breathing issues. Plus, now remind, and then on top of that, I still had to be on the oxygen 24 hours a day. So imagine dragging a long cord throughout the house while you're trying to do simple things as fix yourself something to eat or put a load of clothes in the washing machine. The cords getting all tangled up and everything. It's just very gruesome to me. So it's just like my breathing now. I don't have to give any breathing treatments. I still have that machine, but I don't use it. My breathing is like 90, my oxygen level is like 96%. So they took me off of the oxygen altogether.
Yeah.
They came and they took the equipment back, which freed up my living room space and everything. But most of all, it freed me
Yes.
from having to drag around that long cord from
Yes.
one end to the other, you know.
Yes.
And then on top of that, having to carry around the mobile oxygen unit was more heavier, really, to me. And so it just like how you have to put a child in a car seat and strap him down to make sure he's secure. That's what I had to do with my oxygen tank. I had to drag it around me from place to place in the stores and everything. And it was just really hard for me. So now I'm just so happy that I can just get up and go without having to use any oxygen at all.
Yes. And guys, this is in 2.5 months. Okay. And this has been a struggle for how many years? The breathing and the tanks and the
Yes,
how many years
exactly.
how many years were you living with that?
Um, 7 years, really.
7 years. Yeah, it's a long time.
Mhm.
Now, what is the history with the breathing? When did you start having problems with your breathing?
I never had problems with my breathing until 7 years ago.
Okay.
Never had any problems because, like I say, I was always an athletic person, you know, always outside, going on picnics and doing everything people do outside with that no problem, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a total shock to me because I
Okay.
never smoked, so I don't really know how I got COPD. Don't really know how I got asthma, you know. So that was real puzzling to me. A person that don't drink, never drink alcohol, never did drugs. So I,
Yeah.
that was really traumatic for me.
Right, right. Did the doctors have any insight on what could have caused this? Because it just seemed
I
like
was
you just kind
never
of. Mhm.
I was never given a theory as to what happens. The only thing they did tell me is when I asked about the COPD, I said I thought that came from smoking. And they asked me, had I been around, you know, people that was smoking, which is virtually no. But they did say that sometimes when you have chronic asthma, it can lead up into COPD
Mhm.
um, qualities, you know. So I don't really know.
Okay, okay. And sometimes it's the environment too. I don't know if you worked in an
Mm-hmm.
environment that may have had chemicals, or sometimes that over the course of years, sometimes that affects people's breathing. So, but that is just amazing. And then the most recent diagnosis, which happened this year, was the tracheomalacia.
Oh
And
yes.
so let's speak on that one and how that came about.
Okay. After I had the other two lung issues, I still was breathing real bad, so they sent me to Gainesville to Shands to have a consult because they thought it was tracheomalacia. So I went for a consult and I did all these different tests. And then they say it is tracheomalacia. And what that is that my trachea tube um, has narrowed and those, so it's very hard for me to get oxygen in and get oxygen out. So that's what they said. But
Mhm.
now it's not hard for me to get oxygen in and oxygen out because they wanted me to have a gastric bypass because they wanted me to lose weight very fast. But I was not going to have a gastric bypass because my heart was telling me not to do it. And so I did not do it. I refused that. And so, you know, things got worse for me after that point, you know. So it just went down here from there because I started having all these episodes where I could not breathe. And so then I got a new lung specialist in Tallahassee, and she told me that she don't know why they can't put a stent in my throat to keep my trachea tube from collapsing. So
Mhm.
she sent me back to Gainesville last year, and then the doctor told me that he could put a stent in, but it wouldn't last for 6 months. Then it would break down, and it would cause all kind of scar tissue, and it would have me breathing worse. So again, they said that I had to have a gastric bypass, and I still didn't want to do that. And after that point, I got really, really sick, and they thought that I was not going to live.
Yes, yes. And praise God, because look, look where you are right now.
Exactly.
Share your history with trying to get the weight under control, because some of the medical conditions stem from the weight coming on that gradually came on over the years, just by dealing with all of this and the depression, and we stress eat and we emotionally eat. So share, what were some things that you tried to do on your own as far as trying to get the weight under control?
Well, I started taking diet pills, Dexatrim, which I had to end up not taking those because they had me so nausea and I wasn't really to myself. Then I tried the Slim Fast diet. That didn't work. Drank 2 Slim Fasts for breakfast and 1 for lunch, and then eat a moderate meal. And then by the time I ate the moderate meal, it was so much of food because I was so hungry. And so I still was overeating, And so that didn't work for me. And it was just miserable. I lose about 5 pounds. And then after that time, I gained about 10 pounds because it was just like up and down, up and down, up and down. I tried to go low diet and everything. And then that didn't work for me. So I just gave up and I just started eating more and more and more. Weight started coming on and everything more and more. So it's just like I was depressed and I gave up. I just gave up.
Okay. And then share, because I know when you got the diagnosis for the tracheomalacia, you was you was trying to find out, okay, what can I do to manage this without having the bypass, right? So
Yes.
what led to you agreeing or seeking out help for losing?
Well, when I had a real bad attack and I was hospitalized, that's when they say that, the doctor said they can't do nothing else for me. So they called my daughter in and she rushed down to Tallahassee to see me. She prayed for me and the doctor was telling her that, they were sorry they couldn't do nothing for me. And she said, my mom will live and she will not die. And my pastor was up there and they prayed for me. And I started feeling better. And then she told me, she said, Mama, she said, you got to get this under control. So she told me about you, and which was a godsend because ever since I started with you, my life is so different now.
Thank God. Thank God. What was your it's normal to be nervous when you don't know what to expect when you're trying something new. So what was your first thoughts when we had our first phone conversation, and I shared with you what we're going to do together, and you're going to be able to eat food again. Because I think at that point did you ever go through a period where you restricted carbs and things like that and was restricting foods?
Yeah, they always said that you can't eat carbs, you can't eat meat, you really you can't do nothing but starve yourself to death. That's what they was telling me, and so that didn't never work for me, But when I first was able to speak with you, I was very nervous, and in my mind, I was expecting for you to be just like with the primary care physicians I had. You just eat too much, and if you stop eating too much, you can lose weight, and you're gonna have these problems. So I had that in my mind when I met you, but then when I met you, you was totally opposite from me. You talked to me, you got my interest and everything like that, and you created a meal plan for me that was out of this world. You wasn't looking down on me like, oh yeah, this is your fault, and you should have not eat all this food and this, that, and the other. You told me vital things that I needed to know about foods, and all of our sessions has been just, phenomenal. I feel about food now, very well about food because I'm not never hungry. And sometimes I feel like I'm eating too much, but I'm not, and everything. And so, I just praise God for you. I praise God for my daughter for introducing you to me because I never thought in a million years that I can even lose 10 pounds and keep it off. So that's been really motivating to me. And every time I get on those scales, I'd be so glad to get on those scales just to see. I can see it in my dress sizes. I can see it in my old lady neck now, where the fat used to hide these wrinkles, but I don't care about the wrinkles in my neck. My arms are so flimsy. So now I have to increase, my exercises to get all that done because I'm going to win.
Yes,
I'm
you
going to win.
are. You are winning.
I'm
You are
going to
going
win.
to win.
Yes.
Absolutely. And share what has changed as far as your mobility and your energy levels over these past 2.5 months. Share the things
Oh,
you've been
man.
doing.
First of all, I didn't even know that I could walk to even get no exercise. And so now I'm walking and plan to increase my walking, but we've been in renovations for a house and I've been working like a slave over there. So I'm getting exercise even though I'm not on the road, getting exercise. But the main thing is I am able to breathe without an oxygen tent. And so I'm able to do more things. My husband is just overjoyed. He's my biggest supporter besides my daughter. He always tell me, he said, "Oh, you're looking good. You're looking good." My friends tell me I'm looking good. They thought I had the bypass surgery, but I never did have the bypass surgery.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. My COP episodes, they're not as long as they were because usually when I have one, they will have me down in the bed for 3 or 4 days, but have not had that to happen. My energy level has increased. Sometimes I think I'm back to be 16 or 17 years old again. My fasting levels are down from like 105 to in the 90s. I sleep very well at night and everything. So I usually didn't get that much of sleep because even with the bypass machine on, I was up and down, adjusting it, doing this and doing that. Now, I get myself into bed at least about 10 o'clock at night. So I'm sleeping like 8 or 9 hours a night with no problem. So I'm just
Good.
really excited about my health journey. It's not a diet to me. I've
Yes.
gotten that word out of my mind.
Yes.
It's a lifestyle change for me.
Yes. And you have embraced it. I'm going to share people, you have embraced it. She has really taken it and she's really owned it. This is the program is as flexible as it needs to be. And so she is traveling. How far do you have to travel to do your for your new house and your renovations?
Well, it's probably about 30 minutes from here, but
Okay.
the thing about it is, my kitchen is already set up, so I have all of my foods over there.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing is not to skip your meals, not to skip your meals, and not to skip your snacks because everything works together for a common goal. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have my things set up over there for my lunch and everything, so I don't miss my lunch. I eat my breakfast and my fruit before I leave here, and when time to eat my lunch, I stop and I go in my refrigerator and I
Yes.
fix my lunch and everything. So the bottom line is one thing I had to get used to is this: when we were going back and forth to Tallahassee for supplies, I was always in fear that I was going to not be back in time to eat my lunch. So
Yeah.
after speaking with you,
Mm-hmm.
we created plans that I can take my lunch with me,
Mm-hmm.
if need be.
Yes.
So that worked out for me because I would fix my sandwich, put it in my bag. I bought this bag, refrigerated bag. I put it in my bag, and I also put my snacks in there just in case I wouldn't be back for my snack in time. So I'm covered all the way around the board.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. She owned it. She set herself up for success. So she had her stuff with her. And so it minimized how much she needed to go out or eat out or skip meals. And so she's been on it even away from her primary home. And that's what's wonderful because she made it easy. She had things ready to go. And so it was effortless. All she had to do was just okay, it's time, let's eat. And it gave her the energy to do all that stuff. But she was doing a lot of labor
Oh yes,
renovation.
yes, a lot of lifting, a lot
Uh-huh.
of carrying things around, and ooh, that I couldn't do before.
Yeah. And so with your experience and with the years that you have had to struggle, What is your recommendation for people to seek help? Do you wish you would have sought help earlier in the game?
Well, my advice is that when you know you have a problem and you have tried your best to alleviate that problem, it's time to get help. It's okay not to be okay. So I would tell anybody, whether it's weight loss or whatever, get help, seek help. Don't be afraid to get help, because in the end, it's going to hurt you if you don't get professionally help.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay, I thought you were going to say something else. What are the top 3 things that we did together that you found most helpful?
Okay, the top 3 things is, to me, conversation, learning about what healthy eating is, learning about the tools you need to make you succeed in your goal and everything. And I have learned how to read labels. I saw labels on food boxes or whatever, never paid any attention to it. You went through that with me, so now I'm professional at reading labels, I think. And that has helped me tremendously, because some things I see and I read a label, nope, not good for me, So therefore it's good that, you get help. That's the main thing, you get help. And when you feel hopeless, remember that God is always there and you are not alone.
Amen.
And just don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I said, and fad diets, they do not work. I'm a living witness. Fad diets do not work. So, as yours title is, it's all about choices. It's all about choices. And I love that. And I have that I have sticky notes everywhere to myself, note to self. And I have that on a big sticky note. It's all about choices.
Yeah.
And thank God for you for creating this plan, because you go in and you don't create a plan that's for everybody. You go in, you'll create an individual plan that person needs, and it works better that way. It works better because everybody is different. All their needs are different. So you have to have a plan that's going to work for you. So that's my advice. When you need help, get help.
Yeah, and I thank God for us being united, and I thank God for the opportunity to reach people, because this is my ministry. This is my mission. This is one of God's purposes for my life, and I don't want us suffering. I don't want us to, just because we get a diagnosis, that doesn't mean we have to suffer. You went through a lot, over these past 7 years, and we accept that. We think that, oh my gosh, this is how it is for me. This is where life has led me, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm so, it just brings me so much joy to see your life. You come back to life. You feel like you're a teenager again. You feel like,
yes.
I love hearing the non-scale victories, because it's great to lose weight, but when you told me that oxygen tank went away, I almost cried. I was just like,
Lord have mercy. And my husband, the little guy that came to pick up the oxygen tanks, he was so fret. My husband said, "Let me help you. Let me help you." He was glad for me to get rid of him too, But
yes.
when you have somebody in your corner that's pushing you to do better because they know you can be better, it's like my daughter. That's my angel here on earth. I love her to death.
Yes.
And she told me, she said, "Mama, stop saying you have this and you have that." She just said, "Say the doctor say this. God didn't say you had all these things." And so I just thank God for her. I thank God for you.
Yes,
because I can see the God in you, just like I can see the God in her. And I know you care about, your clients and everything. I know you care because I feel it in my heart. I can feel it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Your blessings are still coming. You have a a sleep study coming up next month. And so we are praying that they say you don't need the CPAP anymore, this
Yes,
machine
Lord.
ever again. So these are the
Yes.
blessings that the years you have added back to your life is just, and I know your daughter is relieved. You know,
Yes.
she was stressed over her mom as expected. And so
Yeah.
she just to see you living and walking and just not having to depend on machines and so many medications, it's just that is a God's gift, and we are so thankful for that. And just so as a wrap up, what any words of wisdom that you have for people who are in your shoes? You have many people who are struggling with weight loss. We have many people who are struggling with blood pressure and diabetes, and even just having pre-diabetes because their A1C is very high. So we have people struggling with cholesterol. What words of advice do you have for people to just kind of get that motivation back?
Well, the first thing is pray all the time about everything,
Mm-hmm.
because God is the center of our lives,
Yes.
and He will help us to be able to endure this. But when you, like I said, when you're feeling hopeless and just think that nothing can help you out, yes, there is something that can help you out, because God put people in your path to help you out only if you allow them to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're having these problems like I'm having, something can be done about it. Get yourself together with a good dietitian,
Yes.
namely Sandra. She is very good. So get yourself with a good dietitian. She can develop a plan for you, and know that all hope is not lost, and
Yes.
that you can, because if I can overcome the things that I've been through the last 7 years, anybody can.
Mm-hmm.
So just get yourself in a good environment with a good person that care about you for you, and not for other different reasons, and everything. So just don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be okay, but do something about it.
Absolutely.
That's my advice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, I had to ask for help, just to feel transparent. I had to lose 25 pounds. My blood pressure was elevated back in my 30s. And I
Mm,
was trying to fix it. I was trying to do all these things and it wasn't working. I tried for 3 years and it wasn't working. And
mm.
so we all need help, and that's and we feel defeated when we feel like we need help because we feel like, oh, I should
Yes,
be able to eat. I should be able to do this.
yes.
What's so hard about that? But
Mm.
if it was that easy, we all would be healthy, right? We all
Exactly,
would have it
exactly.
together. And so like like Miss Kelly said, I say 6 months. If you struggle for 6 months and you haven't gotten the results you're looking for, you give it your best, like she said. Get help from somebody. Get from a professional. Make sure
Hmm.
that dietitian is licensed. Make sure that dietitian
Yes,
is registered, not just a nutritionist. Okay, make sure that they have the right credentials so that you can get the help that you need. And I wasted 3 years. We all wasted X amount of years to try to do it on our own, and we don't. We want to add years to our lives versus take away. And so,
yes,
so I thank you for being transparent. I thank you for sharing. I mean, you are amazing, and you are such an inspiration to me, as well as to our listeners. And so, on that note, I want to open, if people have any comments, any questions, please post on this thread. I will answer those questions, respond to those questions. If there's questions specifically for Ms. Kelly, I will direct them to her and get the answers if I'm not able to answer them. But I pray that this was very inspirational to each and every one of you from many, many different perspectives, because it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your race, your sex, or anything like that. It's never too late to turn things around. Okay, so don't ever feel like you are stuck in things. The doctors told her there's nothing they can do. Look at her now. Look at her
amen.
now. So she was almost on her deathbed, and now she is moving, walking, and living life. So it is possible. Okay. So thank you for tuning in for this week's It's All About Choices. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next week. Remember that keeping a positive mindset and speaking only positive self-talk goes a long way in cultivating and maintaining a healthy lifestyle and self-care habits that last for life. It's all about building habits that last for life. So tune in next week, same time, same handle, and bye for now, and enjoy the rest of your day, and blessings and healthy regards. Bye-bye.
Amen.